Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for November 6th, 2022. So, this week has been kind of weird, but I knew it was going to happen because of NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. I am taking part this year. I am not writing a novel, but I'm mostly just using the goal of writing 50,000 words within the month of November to kind of jumpstart back into writing. I have not written much in the last couple years. I think part of that was, the pandemic and stuff and things going on in my life that this last year I didn't write at all due to work stuff. I just never calmed down enough to make the time. So this has been really great. So far I'm ahead. I'm 2 days ahead. Is that right? Or am I 3 days ahead? I might be 3 days ahead right now, and then I'm hoping today to write 2 days worth to get ahead even further. My goal is to finish sometime during my week of vacation in November. I took the week of Thanksgiving off like I normally do, just so I can help my mom out with the Thanksgiving stuff, but also it's a good time to take only a couple days off and still get like a whole week. So anyway, so that's my goal, is to try to get done that week. I might still continue on and write more than 50,000 words in the month, but my goal is to write every day and to write at least the amount I'm supposed to, which is 1,667 words. So far I'm doing great. I'm a little ahead. It's early though. And I have this whole next week, I don't have a day off. So because I did have Tuesday off on the 1st in order to kind of jumpstart. Anyway, so I did do a lot of reading this week. I am having, you know how you plan, you want to read certain things, and I'm doing, I want to read certain books, but my brain just isn't letting me. So I'm fighting. And so now I'm just picking up whatever my mood takes me. So I think November is going to be that month where I do pick up books that I planned on, like my Nonfiction November picks. I am doing good with that, which I'll get to. But it's the other stuff I should be reading that I'm not. And it was more just, it just feels like pressure for me. So, can't see. There's Cooper. Anyway, so I'm going to just let myself read what I want to read, kind of thing. I mean, I'm putting in my nonfiction, which is great. So Nonfiction November is running all month. It is put on by Olive at a Book Olive. I take part in this every year because I love nonfiction. I just don't make enough effort I should put more effort into reading it more every month. This year was a really bad year for nonfiction for me. I picked up only a few over the whole year, and there's even a couple that I should have finished that I didn't. So my goal this month is to keep reading one constantly. I may not get through many of them, but at least not my whole list, because my TBR is always ambitious, but I might pick up other ones. So I already have a couple that I've picked up that I'm like, I could read that if I get time. And so far, I'm not sure I'm going to get done. But again, I'm just rambling today. I think the thing is that I don't know what I'm going to read this afternoon, besides my nonfiction. So I think they're just being honest about that I'm not sure how this is gonna go. So I think I finished like 8 or 9 things. Again, none of them were super long, so it's not like anything huge, and I had several rereads, so that was good. This might just become a rereading month too. That's kind of where this is going. So we'll see what happens. So the first 2 books that I finished were rereads. I believe I was listening to Archangel's Kiss, which is book 2 in the Guild Hunter series by Nalini Singh. This is one of my favorite series. I'm rereading the whole series now that I just read book 15 that came out last week, or yeah, almost 2 weeks ago now. But I read that one and really enjoyed 15. So now I've gone back to the beginning, and I listened to the book 2 from the library. Justine Iyer does the narration, and she does really good on it. So anyway, I really enjoyed the audiobook for this, because I have not listened to this series at all on audio. So this is a new experience for me. I've listened to the Side Changeling series a lot for rereads on audio, and this year again I did the whole series on audio. But this one I'm just gonna, as I said, I want to reread this series. So yeah, this is book 2. And then book 3, I couldn't get the audio at the library. there was too much of a hold on it. I didn't want to wait. So I read Archangel's Consort, book 3, physically. So I did reread this one too right away. As I said, these are urban fantasy paranormal romances where we're following a world where vampires, angels, and archangels pretty much rule. And we're following, in the first books, we're following Elena, who is a guild hunter, and a guild hunter is the ones who are sent out to pick up the vampires who kind of try to break their leash from, you know, the angels and the archangels who pretty much own them for contract reasons. Anyway, point is that they have very dangerous jobs, and Elena is called to Raphael, the archangel, to track somebody even more dangerous. And so that was the first book, Angel's Blood, and which again is, you know, I love that series. Kitty Cooper. Anyway, so anyway, I'm continuing that series. So I've read, so I said I did one on audio and then one physically because I couldn't get that. So I reread those. I did pick up from the library Cat Massage Therapy Volume 2. So these are just adorable. I mean, it was just, you know, an hour's worth, but it has the cutest kitties who run a massage therapy business, and it has the people who work at this office who go and get massages or bring them into the office for massages, and it is so not necessary, but this is just so cute. I mean, they're just adorable. The kitties I'm trying to think what they have, like, they just have some new ones too. Anyway, so I read the first one a couple months ago. Took a while to get the second one. The third one, I'm on the list at the library to get that. I think there's only 3 out so far. I don't know if it's only 3 in translated or by us. This is by Haru Hisakawa, I think. And it's translated by Ket Nyang. And so, anyway, I really think these are cute. This is like super quick read manga, but it came in from the library, so I read it. Then I kind of had one of those days where I'm like, what am I going to read? What should I read? And I was kind of going back and forth with one of the books that I should be reading, and I didn't want to. Read a couple pages and I went, no, I don't feel like that. So I picked up a book that had just come out on the 31st on Kindle or on ebook, and that is Resting Witch Face by Juliet Cross. This is book number 5 in the Stay a Spell series. So I have been thoroughly enjoying this series all year. This is the newest book. It just dropped. Now I gotta wait till May of next year for the last book, Grim and Barrett, which I can't wait for. Anyway, but I have to. Anyway, so Resting Witch Face follows the oldest sister of the Savoy sisters, who are the main the center of this trilogy. There's 6 sisters, and it's their love stories. So it's a paranormal romance in New Orleans with a lot of different characters. I mean, a lot of urban fantasy characters, you know, like vampires and werewolves and things, and witches and warlocks and kind of thing. And in this book, they are it's a second chance romance that the older sister has with one of the leader of the vampires in New Orleans. So they have history, they have things that have gone on in the past and things that they said or did then, and that's been like 10 years since that happened. And now they're forced to work together for this thing that's been going through the whole series. And it just they travel to different places, and it's kind of them coming back together. But, you know, it was one of the, you know, it was a really, I don't like second chance romances usually. Usually there's good reason for the breakup. I think the breakup reason was good in this one. It made sense. But I enjoyed this one better on how they came back together than I do in a lot of second chance romances. I don't know why. So it's on the very, very short list of second chance romances. So it's really funny because I read this one, and the week before I had read Archangel's Resurrection, which had been book 15, and that had been a second chance romance, but in a different format. But it still was the same thing. I mean, it's still that trope, but it was done differently. So that one I also enjoyed really well. So it's really weird that I have 2 almost back-to-back second chance romances I like. That does not mean I still like the trope. I don't. It's like my least favorite romance trope, but every once in a while I'll come across one that I enjoy, and this happened to be one of them. I love this series. This series is great. When it comes out, when paperback is available, I will buy a physical copy. I really just adore this series, and I can't wait for the last one. So I think when the last one comes out in May, I might have to reread the whole series right before that book comes out. We'll see. That might be a rereading project that I do. I love to reread. Anyway, so that was really good, and I'm glad I got to that really quickly after it dropped, because I was really looking forward to it, but now I have to wait so long until the last book comes out. Then so during the week, I started on the 1st, I started The Hidden Life of Trees, How They Feel, How They Communicate, Discoveries from a Secret World by Peter Wohlleben, I think is how it's said. This was translated from, I believe, the German by Jane Billinghurst. So yeah, I think it was German. So this is one that a couple of years ago, a lot of people were reading about trees, and it was a very light book, but it was like a lot of information about trees and how they survive in different environments and how they communicate with each other, and how the different kinds of trees react to different situations with other trees and other forest things. I listened to this on audio from the library by Mike Grady, and it was really a good audiobook. It was a really good nature book. I think it's definitely one I'm glad I finally got to. I don't think it's not one of my like favorites of that, but I did get a lot out of it, as in learning about trees, and I don't know a lot about trees. So like he does talk more about trees that are native to his area I think he's German, so it's in Germany, but I still think it was really well done, and he really, his ideas on things of how trees react to, as I said, to what humans have done to them and other things that they do due to weather and climate. My cat is playing with something in the other room, sorry. But I really enjoyed as I said, it was really light and easy to read, and the audiobook flew by. So it was really a good read, and I'm glad I got that was my first Nonfiction November. I picked that one for Secret, because it was in a secret world discovery, because it's hidden, it's secret. Anyway, and then I finished, and I finished resting, which face, I wasn't sure what I wanted to read next, but I did have a couple of Katie Robert books that I wanted to get to, but I decided to go back and read the first book in that series, which is The Demon's Bride, which is the first book in a deal with a demon. And I read this back in April, I think is when it came out, March or April. And I enjoyed it. I really thought it was fun. This has to do with a woman who takes a deal with a demon to get away from her very abusive husband. And she is brought to this other world dimension, that has a fantasy world that has more different creatures and stuff. So she is then put on auction to be given to one of the leaders to kind of, so that the demon is kind of saying, hey, you have potential to have children with this human to, bring more power to your country. It's kind of a weird concept. You have to be kind of into the whole, there could be kids and pregnancy kind of thing. And kind of, a deal with a demon is kind of monster, romance. So it is, because the first one has to do with kind of a dragon man kind of thing. And so Soul is, I do like him though. And this was fun. It was a fun reread. Their love story is cute. I mean, again, I think some good topics are brought up and stuff. And I think, again, it was a fun, easy read. So I reread this so that I could continue and read The Kraken Sacrifice, which is book 2. I had bought the discreet version, but I forgot that I joined Katie Robert, her Patreon, so I got sent the normal cover. So I don't have the normal cover of the Dragon's Bride, but I might buy it still. I bought the discreet covers because, I work with a lot of guys. So I just did not take something that looked like this to work. Anyway, but I have 2 copies of that. Anyway, so The Kraken Sacrifice follows another woman who also made a deal with the demon, and then she is sent to a different leader of this world. And I liked the Kraken Thane. I liked him a lot. Catalina was not a character that I clicked with. I did not like her much at all. But I know that it has something to do with her stuff in her past. And I think what this series does is it shows a lot of different bad pasts and how that people get, can work through them if they find someone they can connect with and kind of work through their issues and stuff. I don't know. For monster romance, I think there's a lot to it. I just didn't care for this one as much. It's not my favorite. I didn't like a lot of not the beginning, but like kind of the middle. There were some things that I'm like, what? But it is good. Good romance. Or good, the sexy scenes were all good in this one as well as the Dragon's Bride. So I did enjoy this, but just not anywhere near as much as the Dragon's Bride. And then yesterday I finished the Demon's Bargain. I forgot to pull down the other book. So this one actually is in the Peculiar Taste, the hardbacks that I got in the Kickstarter that Katie Robert did with 6 or 5 other people. I haven't read those other stories. I almost picked them up last night, but then I decided to go in a different direction, which is why the mood thing is going all over the place. So the Demon's Bargain technically is book 2 in the Peculiar Taste, which is about the shadow market, which is in here. But this is also part of the deal with the demon, but it says it's listed as number 4. I would kind of slide it in at like 2.5 because number 3 doesn't come out until I think March, which I'm looking forward to. But this one, I don't know. I would have probably slotted this in as 2.5, but that's fine. Whatever they want. It's shorter than the rest of them. That's only like 120 pages. So it's, a little bit less. But we're following Romanu and Leonora. And I love this. It was so she's kind of like a dark witch and he's of course a bargainer demon. And one of her ex-boyfriends stole an amulet that contains her family's power and she is trying to get it back. And they have to go to the shadow market in order to try to get back from him. And she summoned Romanu to maybe make a deal with him, but she doesn't want to make a deal to give up 7 years of her life. And it's their kind of dance around, they're going to bargain, are they not? But then there's this sexual attraction, and then there's, of course, dealing with the guy who took the amulet. I thought this was really a good one. In the series, I like this a lot better than the Kraken's Sacrifice. I think this was more on par with the Dragon's Bride. So I really enjoyed this. I liked the glimpses that we get, because again, these are all connected stories that are all happening around the same time. So you get kind of like little hints of the other books that are coming, and also you get like throwbacks to the books that you just read that they'll mention something. So I really enjoyed that one, and I'm glad I picked that up. And again, I got this copy from her Patreon, so that's why I even have that copy, because I had the hardback, which I need to read those other books. I just haven't yet. And then the last book that I finished last night was Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. So this was was another book for my secret prompt for Nonfiction November. I didn't mean to pick up 2 right in a row, but they were both the 2 audiobooks that I got from the library right first. So I've had this book on my shelf for like 5 years. I must have picked it up the first year I was on BookTube, because I've had it on my shelf at least that long, because it looks like I bought it in 2017. So this was really interesting, and I think it would have been better if I'd read it closer to 2017. So this came out in 2015, and so he's talking about dating, with apps and people with cell phones, and it is still very relevant to now. I just think that because this is before the pre-pandemic kind of stuff, that that's not taken into account here at all, because again, we didn't know that was coming. But I meant it was really interesting to see him talk, how him and his the researcher he worked with was Eric Kleinenberg, and I think they did a good job of talking to other people and finding out how they answer stuff on emails and not emails, text messages, and like websites like OkCupid and Tinder and other stuff. Like, I don't know what's really popular right now, because I've been out of the dating scene for quite a long time. This is what I probably would have known a little bit more about at the time, but it was still, I think it was really interesting to look at how it's different from now, from other generations, and how we all talk about that, how it's different now because, you know, there's instant gratification with, you know, swiping on somebody, or you're doing something on your phone, or playing the game of someone texts you and then you wait longer than, you know, it took them to answer you, and just so you have the power of they're waiting on you. And I'm like, some of this is ridiculous, except I know that people do that. So it was really a fascinating look at romance, modern romance, and to do with the digital age and how things are going. And again, this is very much mid 2010s. I think it was, I mean, I can see why it was popular at that time and that it did really well then. Now it just, I think it's a little bit outdated on certain things, except that he's really funny. He is a comedian, which is funny that he is a comedian. He took his act and he would talk about this stuff on his act. So it's really interesting. But he was just a weird, and he read the narration, which I'm glad I did the audiobook. Just because I don't know if I would have been able to sit and read this physically. I don't know why I should have bought the audiobook then. He was just funny, but the only thing is just be aware that he tells you that you're dumb for listening to an audiobook when he has to read it to you and you don't want to read it yourself. But, you know, that's just his own little take on it. But other than that, it was really funny. I thought he was crazy sometimes. I'm like, what? Anyway, and there's a lot of, there is stuff in here. So it's nice that I had a physical copy that I would, when I'd listen to it like in my car, then I would come home after work, and then I would, you know, go through the graphs and the pictures that went along with that. Last night I finished it. I had the last 2 hours to do, so about a third of it. And so I just read along with it to finish it. I just wanted to finish it last night to move on. And also I just wanted to see how it concluded out. And as I said, I really enjoyed this much more than I thought it would. I still think it would have been more relevant a couple years ago, but it was interesting. And it just brought up a lot of topics about how young people do things now that, you know, like, as I said, I'm kind of that mix where we didn't have that technology when I first started dating, but it came in the, you know, the 2000s and how that changed. And I thought it was just interesting. I found it interesting, and I'm glad I read it. I'm probably not going to keep the book, but I did enjoy that. So the only book I'm like actively reading right now, because last time I finished my audiobook, as I picked up another audiobook, which is the next one in the Guild Hunter series. This is book 4, Archangel's Blade. So I am about halfway as of this morning of doing chores and stuff. So this is one of my favorites of the series, book 4. So I'm really enjoying this audiobook. It popped up yesterday, so I knew I think that's why I wanted to finish Modern Romances, so that I can get right to this. So I am, as I said, I'm going to try to get audiobooks for these books, and if I can, and then I'm going to, because Justy and I does a really great job in my reread, I want to do these, and then I'm going to try to intermix nonfiction audiobooks with these right now when I can. So I'm going to finish this, and then I will pick up so I'll probably finish this tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to finish this tonight because I'm going to be in my car a little bit later. I had to go to the library to contest a book that they say I damaged, but it was damaged when I got it. So I don't know. I'll probably still pay for it just because I get a lot of books from the library, so I might as well just pay for one every once in a while, but I'm still kind of mad. Anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. Anyway, so what I want to read, I don't know. So the nonfiction books I'm going to pick up next. I might pick up this today. I don't know. I need to read this. Is Islands of Abandonment by Carl Flynn. Again, I'm halfway through. This is the one I started in August. This is talking about places that humans have abandoned for different reasons, either for economic reasons or for environmental reasons, or, you know, or other considerations. And so I read half of this in August, and then I put it down. I haven't been back to it. So I do want to finish this. I do have a hold for it on the library, but I don't think it's going to come until the end of the month. But so if I can get this done physically, that's great, because I've already started it that way. We'll see. So I have that. The next audiobook I will pick up after Archangel's Blade is No One Tells You This by Glynis McNichol. So I kind of had this theme, admittedly, of reading books that I've been on have to do with romance or lifestyle and adult stuff. adult stuff. I don't know. So this is talking about a woman who turns 40, and it's kind of her looking at how her decisions to decide to be alone, to be childless, to focus on her career, and the things that she's had to deal with what other people are doing and what she has decided to do. So anyway, I think I bought this. Did I buy this year? This year or end of last year? So I do want to read this. So that's my next audiobook that I'm getting from my library. I do have a couple books that I started, but I put down, which is The Animals of Lockwood Manor by Jane Healy and The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. Now this one, I think I'm just tired. I binged like 6 of her books last month. I think I might return this one to the library and get it another time. I'm not feeling this one as much as the other ones. That could be it too. It's not clicking with me. I don't know. The main character I don't know, it just isn't working. But again, it's another haunted house where a woman, she gets an inheritance unexpectedly, and she's really down on her luck, so she just jumps at it. But she jumps with no, she doesn't take anything with her, but 2 suitcases, her cat, which is cute. I like her cat. And no food, no nothing. And it's like out in the country, and I'm like, I don't know. So I don't know what this is, how that's gonna, I don't know. I might take that back to the library and get some, and wait and come back to it. Lockwood, The Animals of Lockwood Manor is one of those books where I started it and it's not going the way I wanted to. There is some spooky stuff about this. We're following Hetty, who is with the museum in London, and during the Blitz, they got a lot of things in the museum out to the countryside to have them so in case they are hit by a bomb or something, that the museum has most of their protected things are out of the city. So she goes to Lockwood Manor with all these animals displays and stuff, and so she is there, and it's the late 1930s, I think. And I don't think it's the 40s yet. I don't know. She's around that, it's in that time. And I don't know. There's just something about it I'm not clicking with. I'm kind of disappointed, but I don't know if I should give up on it yet. So I might come back to that. And then the book that I keep putting off is Shadows of Self. I don't know what I'm going to do, guys. I wanted to read this and then read The Bands of Mourning to be ready for the Lost Metal. But every time I pick this up, I put it back down. Like, I read a couple pages, so I read 4 or 5 pages, and every time I pick up a page and then go. But I don't know why. Again, I think I'm having, as I said, I'm just not into epic fantasies this year. And almost everyone I picked up, except for The Alloy Law, I have put down and just not finished. And I don't want to get rid of them because I was interested. I lose steam. So we're going to see. This is, again, another book I can read. And then again, I have some books that I bought in October that I'd like to get to. Reluctant Immortals, or maybe go some Fae romance. Dark King. We'll see. And this is 1967 with vampires in LA. In San Francisco, I think. Anyway, point is, that's kind of it. So that's everything. That's kind of it. So, wow, what am I going to do? Rereads, I did 4. I read 1 ebook. I read 2 nonfiction. Series-wise, I continued. Is that it? I think that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting a book. Nope, I think that's it. So, there's some additions. So we're getting there. Anyway, so, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else this next week. As I said, I'm going to be focusing on my writing. I'm going to clearly read whatever I feel like it. I'm going to keep reading nonfiction. Don't get, that's definitely happening. I'm just not sure how many things I'm going to get to. But I really, as I said, I'm going to keep rereading the Gildanger series as I can. And then, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll get to Brandon Sanderson. maybe not. I have so many other things I want to read, except right now I can't think what I'm going to read later today. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, what are you guys reading? How are you doing? How's your nonfiction November if you're taking part? Let me know. And later this week I'll have my book haul for October part 2. So that'll be up, just so you know. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.